Good morning, ladies of Win. It's me, Tiffany Hilliard. And as you can see, I have my head wrap on today. And that is because the way my waves look matter to me. So if I'm going live in the morning, y'all gonna see me with my wave cap on because I like my wave to be popping. I like them to be popping. So what I'm gonna be dealing with today is from my life coaching certification courses and from my personal life coaching one-on-ones that I'm having with people, I've noticed that a lot of empaths, they did not have any of their needs recognized as they were children. And that has caused a lot of issues in adulthood. I mean, a lot of issues where there's a lot of suppression going on. They're not in tune with their emotions. Their loving emotions have taken on secondary emotions like anger, anxiety, avoidance, and things of that nature. And I just wanted to kind of share with you girls some of the tips that I've learned from being an empath and having an empath for a child. Actually, two of my children. I have three, but two of my children are empaths, highly sensitive ones. But let me talk about my baby boy, Joaquin, and what I've learned now having him versus with my other two children that I did not understand what in the hell to do with them. So Joaquin, when I had him in Montessori for a time, I had him in Montessori, then I had him in private school. But while I had him in Montessori, I would notice that my son would come home, and he's typically a very joyful kid, but he would come home sad, and I couldn't figure out why in the world he was sad. And then he would go straight to his room, which was my bed because he never slept in his room, get his pacifier, start sucking on it, and go to sleep. And he had this major connection with his pacifier. And I kept telling my ex-husband, I'm like, something's going on with Joaquin. And he sensed it too. And he was like, well, Joaquin just needs to toughen up. Joaquin needs to stop acting like a crybaby. But I knew, and my intuition was telling me something was going on with my child. So I would go up to Montessori and ask the teacher, what's going on with my child? And she would tell me, well, he doesn't really like to play with the other children. And I'm like, but that doesn't make sense because Joaquin is a very friendly kid. So I took time away from being an entrepreneur. And that's why I'm so glad that I am an entrepreneur, because when my child needs me, I can take time off because I choose to do so, right? So I took time off and I started observing Joaquin's interactions with these children at school. And I noticed that children would just kind of claw on him. I didn't understand that children could be emotional vampires too, but there's some little bad little brats running around here, and they can be emotional vampires. And when they were feeling bad because of whatever was going on in their home, they were all over my son. They were all over Joaquin. And I noticed it, and I sensed these children energy. So I was like, little kid, back up off my son. Leave me alone right now. Okay, I was like, back up off my son. Leave my son alone. But you can't pop a kid. You can't pinch him because them other people's children. But I noticed that. So I thought, okay, so what do I do about this? So I started, good morning, Yvonne. So I started telling his teacher, hey, get these children, can Joaquin have some space? Can he have some alone time? And what I saw was that the way that the school system was kind of set up, or the way that teacher was, the way she wanted to run her classroom was not a very nurturing environment for my son's empathic needs. So I transferred my son. I got him out of Montessori and I put him in Apple Creek private school. I was so glad that, I had the ability to afford that, schools like that. But I put him in Apple Creek private school, and I had a great relationship with the teacher there. And I told her of my son's needs. I told her of his abilities, and thankfully she understood. Joaquin excelled at that school. But on the home front, I kept having to deal with his father telling him to toughen up. And as I'm going through these coaching courses, especially for young men, if you have an empathic child, a child that is highly sensitive to other people's emotions, and maybe you know it, maybe your intuition is telling you that, and you have a spouse or a baby daddy or a husband that does not believe in the sensitivity of your boy child, here's some tips that I'm going to tell you to deal with. Number one, encourage your child's sensitivities and intuition, because being intuitively gifted is it's a joy. It can change the frequency of everybody in the room. It is a spiritual gifting. So tell your child to honor their gift. Honor their gift. There is nothing wrong with a male child being sensitive. In fact, y'all know as women, we want our husbands to have some sensitivity, but we try to toughen them up and disconnect them from their emotions when they're children. We gotta stop. That's number one. So encourage your child's sensitivities and their intuition. More men need to be intuitive, okay? Number two, and this is a big one, honor your child's feelings. See, yeah, everybody wants, as an adult, they want their feelings to be honored. But when it comes to how your child is feeling, it's like, oh, children are to be seen and not to be heard. Bullshit. Especially for these young men children, okay, and girls too. But my son, when he was dealing with the divorce, I wasn't the only one that got divorced. He did too. He lost his father and his household, and he would question me, why don't we live together? Where is my daddy? Why isn't my daddy coming to see me? And I had my own issues to deal with, but because I had dealt with that with my first two children, I knew better than to brush it under the rug. No. Son, let's sit down. Let's talk about this. Let me tell you what's going on with mommy and daddy. Well, that's not a child's business. Bullshit. What are you talking about? It's not a child's business. Children are going to sense that energy anyway, no matter how much you try to hide it from them. You think children are dumb? They are not. They are not dumb. So I had to tell my son about the complexities of me and his father's relationship. Was he ready for it? Maybe, maybe not. Was he feeling it? Yes. So I had to do something to let my son know without a shadow of a doubt, because children do believe that it is their fault that their parents got divorced. I thought that was just something that some psychologist was saying to take my money. It is true, because as I assess my own empathic needs, as I assess my own suppressed emotions, I realized that I kind of felt that if maybe I had acted better, maybe my mom and my dad would have stayed together. So of course my son is feeling that. So I dealt with that. I honor my son's feelings. I don't care if I understand them or not. My son has a right to feel the way he feels. And my son loves his father. Does not matter that I don't. And I am going to encourage every woman that's listening to this show, if you have a child in the home, I don't care if you don't like your baby daddy. I don't care if you don't like your ex-husband. I don't care. You need to honor the way that your child feels about their parent in your home. I have my exes, his photos up in this house. Do I want them up in this house? I have them up in this house because I want my son to know that his father's presence can be felt in this home, because his dad is 50% him. 50% him. And to dishonor his father means to dishonor 50% of my son. Now, whether it comes out of my mouth or not, it does not matter. I don't want my son to feel it because he is an empath. Number 3, educate your family members and teach them about the sensitivities of your child. So my baby girl, Crystal, is extremely sensitive. And I made the mistake. Toughen up. You're making too big of a deal about such and such, that kind of stuff. But then once I recognized my own abilities, then I had to recognize them in my daughter. So her aunt came to see her not too long ago. And her aunt was being her aunt. And Crystal got offended. And she should have. And normally I would have been like, you're just being too damn sensitive. Get over that, blah, 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 blah. But this time I told my baby girl something that I had never told her before. If you don't like the way that your aunt treats you, you don't have to be around her. This was me honoring my child's feelings. Then I called her aunt. Honey, I love you. Will forever love you. You are my sister, but my child is sensitive. Can you guys work on handling this? And my sister then began to honor my daughter, but I had to communicate those needs to my sister. Number 4, ladies, I'm going to say it again. Trust your intuition when it comes to your child. Do not let someone explain away how your child is feeling. He's just too sensitive. He too much of a girl. He needs to man up. He act too much like his mama. You babying him too much. Ladies, trust your intuition when it comes to your child and protect your child's feelings, because we are natural protectors of sensitivity. Honor your position, because your children is not yours. I know we say, this my child. No, your children are gifts given to you by the universe to guide until your children are ready to manifest their own abilities to change the frequency of this world. You are there to just guide them. They don't belong to you. They are a responsibility to you and a gift to you. That's what your children are. Number 5, and this is a big one, Help your child to recognize when they've absorbed other people's emotions. Now, it took me a long time to realize when I was absorbing somebody else's emotions. This is why alone time for empaths is crucial. It's extremely crucial. So because we need to figure out what's our emotions versus what is somebody else's emotions. And I'm a grown ass woman, if I could barely figure it out, how do you think my 5-year-old son is going to figure that out? That's why I have to know what is my son's default emotional, his emotional baseline. What is his default position? So when he goes over and visits his father, if he picks up another energy or another spirit, I can say, hey, that's not of my son. And I can start checking my son and helping him get rid of that energy because it's not naturally him. So I have to teach my son the art of transmutation now. Number 10, encourage your child to express their dreams. Every single morning, I awaken Yakin. Yakin, did you have some good dreams? And he tells me about his dreams. I want him to be in tune with what his subconscious is giving him, the information that his subconscious is giving him during dreams. I need my son to be aware of that because your subconscious is sometimes a guide. Well, actually, it's an automatic guide. So cause your children to be in tune with their intuition, and being in tune with their dreams helps them be in tune with their intuition. Number 11. Help your child practice shielding themselves from energetic vampires. Ladies, if we can hook up with an energetic vampire as far as a relationship, do not think that there are not energetic vampire type children. They are. There is. And you know them when you see them. You can sense that, you know, them children that's, just thinking about them give me the heebie-jeebies. I love children. I do love children. But I know when a child's emotional needs are not met, and then they come around me, and because I'm so nurturing, they just want to be all over me. Listen, my Yakin is my responsibility, and I love all children. But my milk, my honey is meant first for the seeds that are at my table. From my overflow, I give to other children. I give to my other children from my overflow. But my milk, just like Yahshua, Jesus said, my bread is for the children of Israel. My bread is for Yakin Hilliard. Ladies, I get that you want to love everybody's child. I get that. And I'm talking to you ladies that have these blended families, because I've done this. I have a blended family, and I'm thinking, okay, this child is not my own, so I got to give this new child extra. And I have done it at the expense of my own children. Mistake, ladies, mistake. Your children were given to you as a gift. That is your primary responsibility. You give to your stepchildren out of your overflow. And y'all may not want to hear that, but I'm going to say it again. You got to make sure your cup is filled. Your breast milk from these breasts right here is for your children. From your overflow, give to your blended family. That's why you got to make sure that you incorporate the right blended family. You got to make sure that those children, just because you fell in love with that dude, you have to make sure that his children and your children, that's a marriage too. It ain't just no individual marriage. There's no such thing. I married him. He's mine. Bullshit. Okay. Anyway, let's go down to number 12. Ground your children. Now, people have different analogies of grounding. Let me tell you what I feel grounding to be. It means like a tree. What are your roots? And most people as adults don't know their roots. I am helping Yakin to understand his roots so he will never lose himself. So he won't have to go out and fucking find himself. Know who you are. Know where you came from. And that is why it is imperative that I make sure that his father's presence is felt in this home. I have to love his father, even though I don't want to make sure that Yakin feels that side of him that comes from his father is loved. Now, that is a hard pill for Tiffany Hilliard to swallow. I am telling you. And I'm doing it not because that dude deserves it, but because my son deserves it. Okay. Number 13, very important. Reduce exposure to stimulating situations. I know when Yakin's when he's overly stimulated. I know when Yakin is overly stimulated because he starts acting out. And then I bring him to a public school and I want to hear some teacher tell me, oh, he's ADHD. I don't give a fuck what you call it. No, my son needs some time to himself. You are not about to put a disempowering label on my son. You not finna to do that. I tell you that again. You not finna to do that. No, if Yakin needs to take a day off from school and stay his ass home with his mama or go to work with his mama, I am going to honor my child's feelings. Don't care what these systems think about it. Period. So it is my responsibility to recognize when my child is overly stimulated and then take him out of that situation. I might take Yakin out of that situation for 3 hours and he'll do half a day. And then I'll say, hey, me and you, we're going skating, because that is what my son needs. Okay. Number 14. Create downtime before your child goes to sleep. As I said, connecting your child with their intuition, especially if they're highly sensitive children, is imperative. So create a space where they can relax. Now, we as adults, we go out here, we work, we grind, and we come home to another job, and we never have time to decompress. Let's break that habit with our children. Give our children time to flow and decompress so they can rejuvenate when they're asleep. We need to do that. Now, it's bad enough that we don't do it, but we need to allow our children to do that. Here's another one, and I'm working on this one myself. If you have a highly sensitive child or an empathic child, limit your child's intake of processed foods, carbohydrates, and sugars, because that is a stimulant to the body. So I've noticed that when Yakin, he has his little, I've noticed that when Yakin has his juice boxes, I can't bring him into downtime because that sugar makes him, it makes him too amped. So reduce the sugar before nighttime. Number 16, intervene before your child gets overly stimulated and throws a tantrum. You got to prevent that stuff. When you see that train wreck coming on, you got to do whatever it takes, because what you don't want to develop in your child is this thing where a lot of women have it, where they work, they suppress, and then they erupt like a volcano. No. When I sense my son getting to a 6, so if the volcano is a 10, I stop it at 6, because I don't want my son to go through what I went through, where I have to erupt and kill every goddamn thing and become like Daenerys Targaryen. I don't want him to, Javon, I'll get right back with you. Okay, so I don't want him to erupt, so I stop it at a 6, and I'm teaching him how to take care of his sensitivities now. This is something else that people taught me about that I didn't really know about. Use aromatherapy and essential oils. Now, I don't know how it helps, but I do know that Yakin likes smelling them. I don't know what it does for him. I don't really understand that just yet. If there's a plant empath around, people that are into essential oils and stuff like that, help me to understand that. I don't really understand that too much. But sometimes I'll put like some eucalyptus. Now, see, he got a penis, and I don't know how that really works because I don't have one, but I'll put some lavender, or I'll put some eucalyptus, and I like peppermint too, into his bath water. Don't know if he's supposed to bathe with it or not, but it ain't burning nothing, so I say it's all good. It's all good. Okay. Thank you, Nia. I would appreciate, because I already know that you are a plant empath. Okay. Use pet therapy. I ain't getting no dogs. So, yeah. But use pet therapy. So what I posted a post on Facebook about borrowing. I wanted to borrow an animal. So Yakin, because the animals have this ability of giving unconditional love. And they also have a grounding effect for children. So allow your child, if you can, now I ain't going to get one. I don't want to deal with that responsibility. But if you can allow your child to have a calming pet, let your child have a pet. My niece came down here last weekend, number 19. My niece came down here last weekend, and she's an empath as well. She's an animal empath. But I noticed that her mother had a crystal around her neck, and I don't know. I want to say it was an amethyst. I want to say that. I'm not really for sure. But whenever I saw it myself, whenever her daughter's emotions were working up, her daughter would hold this amethyst, and it would calm her. Now, you don't have to believe it works or not. I don't know. It could be the placebo effect. I don't know. All I know is that this sweet, precious baby girl, whenever she needed to calm herself, she got in a meditative type position and held her crystal. If it calms her down, let her do it. And number 20, help your child to learn how to turn down the stress dial. But in order for you to help your child, you got to learn how to turn down that stress dial on yourself. And that's, man, Listen, I just want to give you girls 20 tips. Those are the 20 tips that are helping me. I am actually going to be teaching a course because I feel led to do so on how to help empaths deal. It's not going to be a life coaching certification course. It's none of that. It's just going to be a course on helping if you have an empathic child or you are an empath. If you want to bring your child, I don't care. I feel led to do this. I hope that this information has been beneficial to you ladies, and I'll talk to you girls later. Bye.